You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 17th of March. Indian Prime Minister Modi slams Pakistan on terror links, accuses it of waging proxy war against India. Teachers in POGB protest against Islamabad's discrimination and denial of rights. And Nepal Parliament erupts over monarchy debate amid growing support for reinstatement of king. And now for all the details. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has issued a strong rebuke to Pakistan, accusing Islamabad of deliberately fueling violence and waging a proxy war against India. In a candid conversation with podcaster Lex Fridman, PM Modi voiced disappointment over Pakistan's persistent hostility despite multiple peace overtures. He also addressed India's relations with China and questioned the relevance of the United Nations in today's conflict-ridden world. A report.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi slammed Pakistan as he accused Islamabad of waging a proxy war against India. Speaking about India-Pakistan relations in a conversation with podcaster Lex Fridman, PM Modi strongly criticized Pakistan for continuing to foster terrorism. Despite India's efforts to establish peaceful relations, Pakistan, he said, chose conflict over cooperation, highlighting his peace initiatives, such as inviting former Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to his oath-taking ceremony and visiting Lahore in a goodwill gesture. PM Modi lamented that all efforts were repeatedly met with hostility and betrayal. Every noble attempt at fostering peace was met with hostility and betrayal, he remarked. The Indian Prime Minister blamed Pakistan for deliberately fueling violence and exporting terror worldwide, citing Osama bin Laden's presence in the country as evidence. The world has recognized that terrorism and the terrorist mindset are deeply rooted in Pakistan. It stands as an epicenter of turmoil, not just for India but for the world, PM Modi added.
अब दुनिया में कहीं पर भी टेररिस्ट की घटना घटती है तो कहीं न कहीं सूत्र पाकिस्तान जाकर के अटकते हैं। अब देखिए 9/11 इतनी बड़ी घटना घटी अमेरिका में, उसका मेन जो सूत्रधार था ओसामा बिन लादेन, वो आखिर में कहाँ से मिला? पाकिस्तान में ही शरण लेके बैठा था। तो दुनिया पहचान गई है कि ये प्रकार से आतंकवादी प्रवृत्ति, आतंकवादी मानसिकता, और वो सिर्फ भारत ही नहीं, दुनिया भर के लिए परेशानी का केंद्र बन चुका है।
Speaking about relations with China, Prime Minister Modi acknowledged past tensions but emphasized the need to rebuild trust and cooperation. After his recent meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping at the BRICS summit, PM Modi expressed optimism about restoring normalcy along the border. Slowly but surely, trust, enthusiasm, and energy will return, he stated, adding that cooperation between India and China is essential for global stability and prosperity. PM Modi also criticized the United Nations and its subsidiary bodies, calling them irrelevant amid rising global conflicts. He stressed that institutions like the UN are failing to fulfill their role as lawless elements around the world continue to act unchecked. The world is interdependent and every nation needs one another. The prudent choice for everyone is to let go of conflict and move toward cooperation, PM Modi asserted.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday held bilateral talks with his New Zealand counterpart Christopher Luxon, who is on a 5-day official visit to India. Both leaders agreed to further strengthen ties and signed a memorandum of understanding covering various sectors including trade and investment, defense and security, maritime cooperation, education and research, science and technology, agri-tech, space, mobility of people and sports. They also exchanged views on enhancing cooperation in the Indo-Pacific. Addressing the media, Prime Minister Modi said the two leaders held detailed discussions on various aspects of India-New Zealand bilateral relations and have now decided to give our defense and security ties a strong and strategic form. PM Modi further stated that both countries support a free, open and secure Indo-Pacific, emphasizing their shared belief in the policy of development over expansionism. During his press statement, PM Modi also expressed concern about extremist and separatist activities targeting India in New Zealand. He added that he trusts the New Zealand government will continue to assist in taking action against such activities. New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon, who is the chief guest at the 10th Raisena Dialogue, will deliver the keynote address at the event. During his visit, he is also scheduled to call on Indian President Draupadi Murmu at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Separatist militants drove an explosives-laden vehicle into a paramilitary convoy in southwestern Pakistan, killing at least 5 people and wounding more than 30, officials said on Sunday. The Baloch Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for the attack in Noshki district, Balochistan. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif condemned the attack, which comes amid a growing security crisis in regions bordering Afghanistan. The BLA had previously hijacked the Jafar Express on Tuesday in a remote Balochistan mountain pass, detonating train tracks in an attack that killed 31 soldiers and civilians, according to the military. The separatist Baloch Liberation Army, which claimed responsibility for Tuesday's attack, released a statement saying its fighters had escaped with 214 hostages and since executed all of them without giving any evidence to back that up. The separatist group released a statement in response to the army, saying it had killed all the hostages in its custody. Pakistani officials have accused the group of making exaggerated claims in the past. The BLA is the largest and strongest of several ethnic Baloch insurgent groups, which have been fighting for decades to win independence for the mineral-rich province, home to major China-led projects including a port and gold and copper mines. Teachers in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan are speaking out against years of neglect and broken promises. Denied rightful allowances and career upgradations, these educators are now demanding justice as frustration boils over. A report.
In yet another display of neglect and discrimination by Islamabad, teachers in Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan are raising their voices against the government's failure to provide rightful allowances and career upgradations. Despite years of dedicated service, these educators find themselves abandoned by the very system they devoted their lives to. While their counterparts in Islamabad have received upgradations and improved benefits, teachers in POGB continue to be deprived of these essential entitlements. The lack of support has left teachers feeling abandoned and disillusioned.
मेरा अभी 27 साल हुआ है इस इदारे में और ना हमें टाइम स्केल मिला है और ना अपग्रेडेशन बस इस तरह हम पड़े हुए हैं अभी हमारा रिटायरमेंट होने वाला है हमें कुछ नहीं मिला इधर से हमारे उधर इस्लामाबाद से अपग्रेडेशन हुआ है हमारे मुलाजमीन का स्पेशल एजुकेशन का सिर्फ हमारे गिलगित में हमारे इधर कुछ नहीं हो रहा है
2015 से ये हजरात हमारे जो है सदर साहब जनरल सेक्रेटरी साहब फाइलों को लेके घूमते रहे फिरते रहे लेकिन आखिर मजबूर हो गए तंग आमद तो जंग आमद वाली बात हो गई वही ना हमें अपग्रेडेशन हो रहा है ना हमारा टाइम सिक्योर हो रहा है ना हमें जो है हेल्थ अलाउंस मिल रहा है ये सारी चीज़ें ना होने की वजह से हम बेहद जो है तंग आके बिल्कुल मजबूर हो के हम आपस में यहाँ तक पहुँच गए कि भाई आज ये प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करके सीएम साहब को और एजी वज़रा को ये चीज़ें मालूम होना चाहिए उसके बाद फिर अगर ना हो तो हम धरने देने के लिए हम कुछ तैयार हैं
The voices of these educators paint a grim picture of the reality in POGB, a region that has been marginalized and exploited under Pakistani occupation. As teachers in the region continue their fight for dignity and fair treatment, their plight serves as a stark reminder of Pakistan's continued failure to respect the rights of those living under its occupation.
BNP acting chairman Tariq Rahman has vowed to prosecute those responsible for the violence and repression during the 2024 movement and mass uprising against former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina if his party assumes power, news agency UNB reported. Addressing an iftar event in Dhaka via video link from London, Rahman underscored the necessity of fair and impartial trials to prevent future injustices. He stressed that without accountability, such atrocities could recur. Rahman urged victims' families to remain hopeful and united in seeking justice, expressing confidence that collective efforts would lead to prosecution of those responsible. The 2024 mass uprising, initially sparked by demands for quota reforms in government job recruitment, escalated into widespread protest against four-time Prime Minister and BNP political rival Sheikh Hasina. The government's crackdown on protesters resulted in significant casualties, further fueling public dissent. This unrest untimely contributed to the fall of the Awami League government in August 2024, after which Hasina reportedly fled to India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to visit Sri Lanka early next month to finalize bilateral agreements reached during Sri Lankan President Anurakumara Dissanayke's visit to New Delhi last year. Sri Lankan Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath announced this past weekend. Herath made the statement while addressing a budget allocation debate in the Sri Lankan Parliament. He emphasized that Colombo's diplomatic ties with New Delhi have been strengthened through sustained engagement. We have maintained a close relationship with our neighbor India. Our first diplomatic visit was to India, where we reached several agreements on bilateral cooperation, Herath said. Foreign Minister Herath credited the National People's Power government's diplomatic stance for fostering positive ties with India. He highlighted India's ongoing development projects in Sri Lanka, describing them as key to improving infrastructure and energy sectors. We will remain neutral in our foreign policy without taking any sides while working to maintain national interest, he added, reinforcing Sri Lanka's commitment to strategic autonomy. This upcoming visit will mark Prime Minister Modi's fourth trip to Sri Lanka since 2015, reflecting India's proactive engagement with its island neighbor. During PM Modi's visit, both nations are expected to sign new memoranda of understanding to deepen cooperation. A key highlight of the visit will be the inauguration of the Sampur Solar Power Project in eastern Trincomalee district. Nepal's House of Representatives witnessed a heated exchange on Sunday as lawmakers from ruling and opposition parties clashed over rising demands for the restoration of the monarchy. During a special parliamentary session, Raghuji Panta, a lawmaker from the ruling CPN-UML alliance, strongly criticized the monarchy and claimed that attempts to spread illusion and frustration in the country were gaining momentum, aided by the misuse of certain media platforms and social media. Lambasting the now defunct monarchy, Panta accused the former kingdom of being responsible for omitting the disputed territories of Lipu Lake, Limpiadhura and Kalapani from Nepal's map. He credited Nepal's transition to a federal democratic system in 2008 for improving citizens' incomes and argued that efforts to reinstate the monarchy were futile. His remarks drew sharp objections from Gyan Bahadur Shahi, chief whip of the pro-monarchist Rashtriya Prajatantra Party, who defended his party's monarchist stance and questioned the legitimacy of Nepal's current political system. The developments in parliament come amid growing calls for the reinstatement of the monarchy in the Himalayan nation. On March 9, thousands of supporters gathered in Kathmandu to welcome former King Gyanendra Shah after his visit to Western Nepal. Nepal abolished its centuries-old constitutional monarchy in 2006 after King Gyanendra stepped down from the throne following a parliamentary vote that ended the 240-year-old Hindu monarchy. Since then, Nepal has had 13 democratic governments and growing frustration with the republic has emerged, with critics blaming it for economic struggles and widespread corruption. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.